you, Dorcas.
All right, perfect. So good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, wherever you're joining us from. It's great to have you in this session. Right. We'll start 6 p.m. sharp, 6 p.m. WAT with no time to waste. So my name is Dorcas Osikorovia. I'm the growth and marketing consultant with BNet Learning. BNet Learning, as we know, is a professional and development platform for everybody who's looking to grow in their career. We offer courses in business analysis, data analysis, project management, Scrum product owner, Scrum master certification, right? So if you need certifications in any of those courses that I just mentioned, then you can come to us. We offer trainings in those courses. For today, we're looking at transitioning into a BA role, right? BA being business analyst. Business analysis is one of the top growing careers in the world, I could say in the world globally in this 2022, right? So we have experts in this field. We have Adija Folari, who is our director of training with BNet Learning and Development, sorry, and he's on this call. So he will also take us through why you should become a business analyst and also how to transition if you're looking to get into this career space. We have Ezine Ofegu on this call. Her story, I'm sure, will be intriguing to a lot of you. She's a lawyer who is now a PA, right? So I'm sure you'll be very, very interested to learn how she went about transitioning from law to business analysis. We also have Adija Uzodima, right? She's the head IT with Ren Money. We all know Ren Money in Nigeria, right? So I'm sure it'll also be interesting to see how she's in tech and also a business analyst. So I'll kick off right away. I'll pass it on to Damola, who will take us through an introductory session of what business analysis is in general. Just for like rules, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat box. We'll have time for Q&A session at the end of the call, right? So just drop your questions on in the chat box and we'll get to them so the speakers have enough time to go through what they need to share with every one of us. So with this, I'll pass it on to Damola. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorcas. Kindly confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right, awesome. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Dorcas. I think we can just jump the introduction and go straight to the conversation, right? So I know a couple of persons, if not a lot of persons here, you're here thinking about what the next steps are. You want to be a business analyst and you're looking at, what should the journey be like? So in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll just talk about business analysis, and hopefully you'll be able to get and gather some insight from the conversation today. So what is business analysis? We'll start with that. Now, textbook definition of business analysis says that it's a practice of enabling change in an organizational context by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. Now, one thing you should take away when it comes to business analysis is that it's a practice that enables business and also tries to deliver baseline benefits to business, right? But there's a lot in the middle. It's actually a broad spectrum where you can be a data analyst, right? But you're also using some form of business analysis competencies to deliver data insight and data analytics outcomes. You can also be, for example, in some form of technology space, whether you are looking at infrastructure, you're looking at project implementation, product rollout, but you will see very shortly that business is very broad, and the opportunities are actually very, very, very endless, right? But one thing you should take away is that the business analysis is actually a practice that tries to ensure that outcomes, business outcomes can be improved upon, can be better, basically. Now, common jobs in business analysis. Now, like I said, it's a broad spectrum. So it's not, I mean, it doesn't really limit you to the role. And some of us are just fortunate to be called business analysts, but there are a lot of other roles that actually play within the space. And if you're looking at my screen, you'll see there's management consulting, there's process analysis, there's product manager, there's system analyst. So some BAs are particularly, required to be biased in terms of technology. There's customer experience analyst, there's requirement analyst, we have the business architect, we have the business intelligence analyst, we have the enterprise analyst, and the list goes on, right? It goes on. In fact, it's almost impossible for you to say that you play in a domain today that doesn't take some of the tools and techniques as prescribed by business analysis globally. So it's a very broad domain and space to play within. Now, so short story, right? Just I'm taking it off from where I stopped, right? So because business analysis is that broad, right? So people would make out of it what it means to them. And there's no better way to illustrate it without the story of the 7 blind men, right? They are all blind and they are, touching the elephant, and they are describing the elephant based on their own interaction, and what they can feel and touch. You can see the first guy says that an elephant is like a big snake. Why? Because it's touching the trunk. The other man, bending down, saying, actually, no, it's like a tree stump because it's interacting with the leg. And that's business analysis for you. It's very broad, right? And what we have seen in recent times is that the practice continues to evolve. It continues to evolve. More roles are opening up now. Like there's an amalgamation between data analysis and business analysis, where you can have a business data analyst. There's an amalgamation between product ownership, product management, and business analysis, where you can have product ownership analysts, right? And so, it continues to evolve that way. You would make out of it what you want. The career is broad, right? And if there's anything you want to take away from it today, is that business analysis is a broad spectrum. The opportunities are there. The career is evolving, and it's a good time for you to jump on the train. So this also just buttress some of the things that I've mentioned earlier. It's a broad-based, but disciplined approach, introducing and managing change in organization. It says here that identification and articulation of needs. So these are some of the things that BAs are engaged with: elicitation of requirement, engaging stakeholders, clarifying stakeholders' need, being involved in strategy analysis, strategy definition, implementation, rollout. What is business analysis not? So the conversation needs to be balanced, because when we are talking about what business analysis is, we also need to have some form of perspective on what it is not. It's not a fixed job title, like I told you. It's a broad spectrum. It's not a single methodology-driven career. It's not just a career in technology. And I think I would like to dwell on that a bit. So some of the, I would say, misconception out there is that a BA is actually a technology person or is a techie domain. It is not. The truth is that it has every use case in technology, right? But business analysis is not limited to tech. Yes, there are more and more heavy need of business analysis practice in technology. But like you've seen, if I go back just one more step, like we've seen in the roles here, you can be a customer experience analyst. And what you're doing here is that you're gathering insight, sentiment, from people who are interacting with your product, with your services, and you're looking at how to, make the experience better, basically. And you're not, you can be using technology tools, but you cannot be seen to be a techie person, right? Because what you're doing here is to just carry out analysis on sentiment and customer complaints or interaction of your customers with your product, right? You can see business architects. A business architect is really looking at the blueprint of an enterprise, looking at how can the enterprise optimize outcomes based on what they have, and what should be the next roadmaps or vision statement for the enterprise. And that is really not a technology heavy, assignment as it were. So yeah, it is not a technology career. Yes, there's an heavy use case in technology. It is not also project management. Okay, so trying to still distill it, when we talk about business analysis, usually you look at it from these three perspectives. Is either you are very strategically involved in your business analysis practice, where you are working more with C-suite executive, for example, and you're trying to either clarify strategy, help help provide vision and roadmaps in terms of what the organization or enterprise should be looking at. Some BAs will find their roles to be quite operational, where you're like a process analyst, for example. You're looking at operational processes. You're looking at how do you improve them? How do you remove redundancies? How do you introduce efficiencies? And all that. While some other BAs are very tactical, and that's where you see, the BAs that play in technology. Like the business system analysts, right? Where they're very tactical. They're looking at product and solution requirements. They are going into the details, right? They're going into solution component details. And they are involved in technology solution implementation and rollout. So those are the three perspectives, and you can decide to, choose your career in any of these pathways, and continue to improve upon it. And there's always a career path and a career path and a career lane for you to go on either path. Again, still just talking to the job roles, because we know that a lot of people on this call today are looking at business analysis. What should be my next step? And that's why we're having this conversation. It's a very broad conversation, but again, it's a conversation that we hope that would give you some type of insight and let's step into what you should do. So again, like I said from the earlier side, it can be a strategist. It can be a BA that you are playing in the strategy space, or you are playing in the operational space, or you are playing in the tactical space. That still aligns to this conversation. If you're a generalist, it can be a BA or a management consultant, or a project-led BA. It can be a specialist where you're trying to play within a special domain. You have a boundary that you're playing within, like an agile space, or an information technology space. Again, what we see today is that most of the employers of this era, they need you to be very flexible. So they need that hybrid skills and competences. And you see that it's not something far-fetched when you see a job posting that says that BA/product manager, or a BA/project management. A BA that also has some form of job description that talks to testing. A BA that is required to be very, very technical, that has some form of software development experience. A BA that can also play the role of a product owner. A BA that can also play the role of a data analyst, providing insights into reporting, dashboard, and helping decision making efficient and all that. Okay, so I'll just round up the conversation very quickly, talking to more the pathways or the career path for business analysis. And I would like to focus the conversation on this. Now you can see in the center business analysis, right? And you can see all the branch coming out of business analysis, right? And this really just puts the conversation into a box, right? It distills it properly. So you can see if you want to be technology focused, you can see the career options that are highlighted there. You can be a business data analyst, like I said, and that's an hybrid role there. You can be in business intelligence. You're still working with some form of data, but you're more concerned about how you use data to drive decision making and providing insight from data. You might want to be in machine learning or in AI, and that's where you want to create your career around. You might want to be in infrastructure. You're looking at cloud, or you're looking at software as a service, application management. Today, people would usually see that the people in network, it looks like, oh, network is a very, very, very limited role. I'm talking of in IT now, but again, it's really, really becoming very broad, where you have, cloud analysts, right? And that's more like a analyst that is heavily biased in infrastructure, right? You might also want to look at information technology, information security, career paths. Now, you see the other side that talks to business focused career path and business analysis. So you see the business analyst himself. Now, if your role is really just very generic as a business analyst, what you will find most of the time is that you need to have rudimentary basic understanding of technology and business, right? And that's why you see that this line here is really in the middle, where you are really a go-between business and technology, and a lot of BAs find themselves there. But again, there are some other heavily biased BAs, like a business process management analyst, right? You're looking at business processes from a business perspective, and you're trying to, introduce efficiency, optimization, and all that. It might be a product manager. You're looking at product vision board. You're looking at product market fitness. You're looking at market segmentation and all that. You are business heavy, and that is also a career that we can branch into from business analysis. You might want to be an expert in Agile, right? Where you're trying to look at a release train engineer, a scrum master, a product owner, like we said, and all that. Again, customer experience and design thinking. So you see that it's broad. Again, going back to where I started from, business analysis is broad. It's not a single story. The options are actually more, and they are also increasing as the practice evolves. All right. So I'm going to stop here. For the sake of time. Dokas, over to you.
Yes, thanks, Damola. So I mean, what this shows is there is the possibility that there's a role, like a business analyst can play a role in different industries. So if you're a customer service manager, you can be a business analyst within that space. If you're a marketing professional, you can be a business analyst within that space. So yes, that's the trend. But noticeably, you're going to get as in have more BAs in different career sectors and industries globally. So before we go on to Q&A, where we'll get to listen to experience sharing from Azini and Adija, we'll take this question. So this question is from Olabanji Olatomiri, right? And he or she says, for someone who is transitioning into BA, which is more valuable in the job market, the BA certification or the BA degree that's going on to get a master's or diploma? So Damola, based off your own experience, which would you say is more valuable in the job market?
Okay, and that's a very good question, right? I would say that the lesser pathway or the shorter curve into the practice is to get the certification. Because if you come to the bootcamp in 2-3 months, you can get the certification. And you will be seen by potential employers that you'll be validated. Your profile will be validated, to be given an opportunity to play in the field, right? It doesn't stop you from getting a degree or getting a master's in business analysis, but you can have degree in anything, in any field, and get the certification and come into business analysis. In fact, what we see today, a lot of the guys that are very, very professional and thought leaders in the field today didn't study anything like business analysis. I didn't study business analysis, right? But doesn't mean that you can also take that journey, just a longer journey. And that's what I would say. But if you're asking which one is more valuable, I wouldn't take the conversation around value. I would just say the quicker way is for you to get the certification, do a lot of self-learning, get some form of mentorship, and you are 100% validated to practice and take up opportunities.
Okay, great.
Let me add to what Damola has said. Being fixated on the degree or what have come to from my own research, I have found out that some schools who are displaying or who are saying that they have degrees or postgraduate diplomas or programs in business analysis actually tailor their syllabus to the IIBA. And when I went through what they have, it's actually what you learn in the bootcamp. So it is more or less what's your preference, because they still have IIBA certified instructors teaching in those schools to give you a postgraduate diploma in business analysis. So at the end of the day, it is what you're going to get from the certification bootcamp. In my opinion, I think it will be the same thing, because they are all still IIBA certified syllabus. Just to add that, so they can actually weigh their options and know that a certain option or choice is not a waste of their time, or one is more valuable than the other, because it is about content. I mean, it's the same thing.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, that's fine. For those of us on the call wondering who is IIBA, IIBA is the certification body, the governing body for business analysis, right? So if we have institutions like schools who then go to IIBA to source for professors to teach these courses, then probably just do the certification. You'll probably be a faster route. If you then still want to go ahead and do a master's degree or have a master's degree in it, then you can go ahead and do that. Right. Okay, so we could just go ahead and start the just a little Q&A session, right? Since Izine is on, we'll give you the mic. So Izine, please kindly share a little bit about yourself and your career journey so far.
Thank you, Dorcas. I'm a lawyer and a human resource professional. My first degree in law school was done in Nigeria. I have 2 law specialties, international commercial law and oil and gas, both from the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. I hold certifications as a senior professional in human resources, process change practitioner, and of course, a business analyst. I'm currently enrolled in postgraduate diploma program for human resource management in University of Winnipeg in Manitoba. My career, I won't bug you with the whole legal thing, but I'm coming from the business process perspective, and having to not being so fixated on the law. As Damola said, I have 8 years plus experience in the oil and gas sector. So I was an in-house counsel, and part of the structure of the organization was certain employees, or most employees in the legal department, handled certain portfolios, and I handled the portfolio for IT. So I interfaced and worked a lot with the IT people in the company back then. And the structure of the company was, I was at the group level and we had subsidiaries. So on each subsidiary, there were legal departments within that. And it was at a time in the organization where we're going through a lot of reorganization, process efficiency, re-engineering, business efficiency. So I had the responsibility of doing a lot of going from manual to automation to align with the organizational objectives of business efficiency at the point. So I had to do a lot of document management process design, having to interface with the stakeholders in the various subsidiaries. I had, of course, stakeholder engagement. I had to work with strategy because they all had different strategies. And I had to come up with solutions for the automation process. Being the legal department as a service center and as a cost center, we were giving these subsidiaries those services. So it was in that time that I did not know. I was just doing I did not know that I was a business analyst. I was just doing my job of what I know now as stakeholder management, what I know now as elicitation, strategy analysis, requirement development, solution evaluation. Yes, so that's how I got in contact with business analysis, or that's how I knew later on that I was a business analyst and I had experience in it, because for every year throughout the time I was in the company, 8 years plus. It was either one change or the other, one update or the other. So that's my story to where I am.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. That's great. So the other question I would ask now is so far, right? How has the certification, you saying you've been doing the work, right? You've been like having to deal with this what's name stakeholders, do the whole system analysis and all of that without even knowing that you were already doing the work of a BA. Yeah, so now you have done the certification. How would you say the knowledge after like doing the certification, how would you say it has helped you so far in your career?
Okay, so I'll take a step back. After my number of years, I plateaued in my career, having gone through the 3 levels of the oil and gas sector, midstream, upstream, and downstream. I became bored, so I took a career break, stepped back to evaluate myself and know what I've done, what I've achieved, and where I'm going to. And it was in that time that I started validating my experiences, because it's not enough to have them on your CV or as, oh, I've done this and I've done that. The reality now in the corporate space is validation of what you have. I mean, that gives you more recognition. So it was in my stepping back to reevaluate what I've done thus far that I came across the business analysis name, business analysis. And as a lawyer, I thought it was business. I mean, business is numbers. So I was kind of scared, but I was in a state of curiosity because I'm a very curious person. Then I called a friend who had done the business analysis program with BNet. And she told me, okay, so I called Damilola, who is an employee of BNet Learning. She walked me through it. And I said, okay, taking a chance, let me just take a chance and do the certification, know what it entails, and just try. On getting into the bootcamp, the first day was an eye-opener. That was when I knew that I had solid BA experience. Damola took us, he was my instructor at the bootcamp. He took us through the bootcamp and everything. That gave me more confidence. Fortunately, shortly after my bootcamp, before I wrote my exams, I had an engagement with a startup fintech. And the first week that I came on board, they had a crisis for one of their solutions. And so I had to apply my solution evaluation and strategy analysis knowledge gained from the bootcamp to solve a number of their challenges at the time. And I would say it gave me a lot of confidence. I mean, having to go through, because by the time Damola is done with you, you would think you already have the certificates and you're a CBAM business analyst. So that's how so far it has helped me.
Okay, that's awesome. So for Izini, we have some questions for you.
Okay.
From Isang, sorry. So it says, Izini, how does one revamp her resume to a transitioning business analyst resume? So I don't know if you have directives for this person, but we actually had a session where we talked about revamping your resume and tailoring your resume to suit applications and roles. But Izini, from your own experience, do you have tips for this person?
Okay, I would say, apart from speaking the whole language of human resources by saying tailor your CV to the job role, honestly, I would say the word transitioning, I mean, we are all BAs in our various rights, as Damola has demonstrated. My own lens, I come from the lens of a business process. I would say you need to take a step back to understand the BA role And it's not just by listening to what we are saying here. It's not just by listening to the different things that they have on the internet. You need to learn. And I would highly recommend first off, you need to learn. And learning the ropes to align your experience to what you have. So I would say, enroll for the bootcamp. Not that I am advertising for BNet Learning, but it only makes you understand who you are as a BA. Like, it's enlightening. It opens your eyes to understand that you have the skills that are required. So I would say, go for your training for the bootcamp. That will make you understand the BA role, because you need to understand the BA role for you to apply it to any job adverts. Because when you're reading job advertisements for BA roles, you would understand the language they are speaking. So if you see a BA role that says elicitation, it's not just by copying and pasting. You need to understand first before you can tailor your CV to transition to a BA role. And that's what the bootcamp does. I hope I answered the question.
Okay, great. Thank you. I hope so too. So I think we'll just take some few questions before we move on with the session. So Damola, I think you can help with this. So from Kital, he says, please, can you elaborate on the different certifications and any specific one you would recommend?
Okay. I think the very first one that comes to mind is the CBAP, which is the certification in business analysis professional. So that really qualifies you, but depending on where you are in your career path, the certification is also a bit, is instructor, right? Is in levels. So we have the ECBA, which is tailored for people who don't have any experience in the field. You're just a young school leaver, or you don't have any experience in business analysis, but you want to show to potential employer that you're interested in business analysis. And ECBA, they're very good. And then we have the CCBA, which is Certificate of Competencies in Business Analysis, which is targeted to people who you don't have a lot of experience, but you have some bit of 2-3 years experience in business analysis or related domain. You can go for that. And then the CBAP, which really talks to managerial level of business analysis, where you're required to have at least 5 years of experience in business analysis and related domains. So yeah, those are the ones. But there are other certifications also. But a good way to come into the BA domain is to get one of those, depending on where you are. And then once you have a foot in, you can now start to look at how do you make yourself, that hybrid, competency or expert, where you can now start to go for without product ownership analysis and the rest. But yeah, start with business analysis certification, and from there, there are multiple certifications that you can take depending on your career path.
Okay, awesome. So we have from Chuck X. He says, after BA, do you need more certifications on BA? I'm just assuming, after being a certified business analyst, do you need to take on more certifications?
I think I just answered that, right? That once you have a foot in, yes, there are different other certifications that you can take depending on your career path, right? Yeah, always a lot of certifications to take to prove yourself and to validate your profile.
Okay, that's perfect. So Damola, is now over to you to please share, let's say, tips and plans. So if I use myself as a sample, like an example, I'm a marketing person, a marketing professional. So if I'm to say I want to then transition into a BA role, right, what are the tips, what are the steps and plans should I take to do this transition successfully?
Thanks, Dr. So in terms of tips to transition into business analysis, I think the first thing, like Isn't said, responding to the CV resume question, is to validate your understanding, right? Validate what you know, or even validate your experience. Because sometimes you might be experienced, but you don't even know that you have enough experience that validate you as a business analyst. And how do you get on that journey is to get some form of learning, training, structured mentoring, structured exposure to the practice. I would say, in terms of marking your first step is to take the certification, right? Come register for the bootcamp. It will introduce you to the global practice. It would expose you to the rudimentary details for business analysis. Once you are good with that, you can now start layering all your other actions on that. Either you want to review your CV, update your CV in line with the kind of business analysis practice. Also remember that at the beginning I said that business analysis is very broad. It's a broad spectrum. You make out of it what you think you should or what you're interested in, right? So you start to get insight into what type of business analyst do I want to be? Do I want to play in the data space? Do I want to be technology focused or business focused? Just like we saw in that image not so long ago. And then even if I wanted to be technology focused, what are the sub domain that I want to play in? I want to play in machine learning, artificial intelligence analyst. Do I want to be a cloud analyst, for example, and all that? Or do I want to go into information security? But the good first step is to even come in and get some form of structured learning, be exposed to the global practice, be exposed to the BABOK, which is the Business Analysis Book of Knowledge. You would now be able to take further actions based on that.
Okay, awesome.
Because just one more thing. Additionally, also, you can actually get some form of mentoring or mentorship that we also offer, where we can advise you based on where you are and also let you know what your best steps are in terms of the type of action you should take. I think that's something to add.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So we'll have a question from Sakura. Damla, you can help with this. What is the difference between Agile, Scrum, and business analysis?
Okay, that's an interesting question because I get it like almost every time. So Scrum is a practice. Agile is an approach. Business analysis is also a practice, right? But Agile is an approach for product delivery, right? So I would say that you can be a business analyst, like you saw in that other diagram, and be playing in the Agile space, because Agile is an approach, is a way of work. Basically, it's a way of work. Just imagine the whole new era of new ways of working, where you can either be working remotely or you're working in a physical location, or you have an hybrid. That's really what Agile looks like, and that's what Agile is actually. So Agile is a way of working. Business analysis is a domain where you need to be exposed to the lingo, the practice, the terminologies, the tools, the techniques, and all that. And same for Scrum. So you have a certification in Scrum, you have certification for business analysis. You also have some framework for Agile, but I want you to understand that Agile is not just a practice, it's a way of work, and you can be a BA play in the Agile space. You can also be a Scrum Master, and definitely if you're a Scrum Master, you're already playing in the Agile space. And we also have certification for Scrum Master, right? Where you want to be concerned about coordination of project, working with a Scrum team or a feature team, and using Agile practices to deliver on those products and initiatives that you'll be working on.
Okay, great.
I hope that clarifies it.
Yes, I hope so too. So one last question before we go to Adija. Damola, how does one make a choice on the aspect of BA to specialize? This is from Babatunde. I don't know if is there a way to go about, like, how do you go about making a choice, basically?
Okay, cool. So I would like to use my own experience and my own career pathways. So I would say a lot of times, you would see that your first opportunity sometimes would inform what next your career line should be. Some people are more intentional, where they have it all mapped out. For me, I just started off as a BA within the technology space. And I thought that, yeah, I think the next big thing is for me to go into some form of product, management understanding and project management. And I did that. And and at some point I thought that, oh, why not go into architecture? And I've also, taken certifications and playing in that role. And these have been based on, just exigencies and what had just happened, that the opportunities that came my way, that I thought that, and all the things that I know that were laying some form of demand on me. And then I thought that, oh, why not go do this? But again, I think the best step in, like I said, is to, get certified and come in as a BA. Then once you come in, you will start to have understanding of the various options that are open to you. There's no one career path that is valuable than the other. It depends on what interests you. A lot of time, it depends on the opportunities coming your way. Like I know a BA today, she's in fintech, but some opportunity came my way, and then she's now transitioning into some form of data analytics and data analysis role, because that is the opportunities that are just come my way from the company she's working in, right? But for some people, they will just wake up and say, I want to be a data analyst. And then you start to take learnings, you start to get mentoring, you start to take certification that for in that line, so that you can harness the opportunities.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Damola. All right, now we'll move on to Adija Uzodinma. So we'll start with our first question. So just please share a little bit about yourself and your career journey so far.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Adija Uzodinma. I am currently head of IT and operations at RentMoney. I started my journey, I would say, from school. I read computer science as a first degree, and just shortly after school, I got a job, and I wanted to be a programmer. Really, I was already a programmer, but because I was a female, I was forced to move to PM and BA. I didn't really understand what a BA was then, but I was functioning in my mind as a PM. And then basically after NYSC, I kind of took it more seriously, had 2 more jobs. And sometime around 2014, I had been a practicing BA for about 4 years, and I needed something to validate, right, my skills. I wasn't sure, okay, yes, I'm a BA, so what next, right? So I went fishing, and of course, I met the BNet team, went for the bootcamp, did my certification. I actually did the CCBA first. And apologies, my house is very noisy. I did the CCBA first, and what that did for me was it opened my eyes to a whole new line of opportunities. Oh, you are able to do this. You are able to do so many other things in different lines. I have always been in the tech space, so I have moved in the tech space. I have moved along in the tech space for years, and years after I did CBAP, because of where I was working, and then went on for an MBA in finance and investment. After taking my CCBA, I think I need to mention this. My employers kind of recognized my skill. Yeah, it's just like you're doing the job and it felt like, oh, you were an intern. But after my certification, I was then given some other BAs to manage. Yeah, so I kind of got promoted to be a BA manager, which really helped me because at the time I was looking for another job. So given a new role and a new certification, I felt like, oh, the world is my oyster. But yeah, it kind of opened up a lot of opportunities for me. And yes, I went back, did my CBAP, and I have been renewing my certification since then. Later on also, because of my line of work, as the head of IT, I had to go be a certified Chief Information Security Officer. I also went in for ITIL because, of course, service delivery is part of what the head of IT should be doing. So yeah, that's the long and short of my story.
Okay, great. I'll ask this question again, which I'm sure a lot of people will be curious to know, right? So since your certification, I know you said you got recognition after your ECBA, that's the beginning level for business analysis, right? So for after your CBA, yeah, we'll be curious to know, have you gotten like a new job offer? Like, have you been getting job requests? Have you gotten salary increase? Because I know in everybody's mind, like we all want to, if you
Yes.
don't want to go, and then if you're looking at doing this, you need to know something is gonna change. Like something has to change in your career, also in your bank, right? So question is, have you gotten that recognition enough that you are getting like job offers left and right, like salary is just increasing, all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Recruiters always want to know, are you certified? Yeah, it's not enough that you're calling yourself a BA, you wrote in your CV, oh, I did this, I did that. Do you have the certification? Even I myself have recruited for the BA role for years. This might somewhat answer someone's question that was saying in the Nigerian context, people take degree over certification. Because I know what it takes for you to do the certification, you need to fill your number of hours of work, proving that you've got the skill in this and this and this section. I would personally prefer someone that has been certified than someone that actually went to school, because in my mind, you are just learning in school, but to be certified, you did some sort of work, right? Before you got certified. So yeah, my experience with recruiters since my certification has been, is really been intense. And it's funny how everywhere now they are looking for BAs in all industries, be it finance, tech, oil and gas, legal. Everybody is recognizing the need. And people usually just mistake BA to be, oh, is it tech thing, right? In my own capacity as the head of IT right now, I'm kind of like a glorified senior BA, right? Where I'm a solution provider. That's literally what it is. So you will always find yourself useful in any industry. If you've been working in that capacity or you want to transition, the certification really is your best option or your best decision. Let's put it that way.
Okay, awesome. So we have a question from Ekene Paul, right? Adija, I'd like to take it. In a more practical thought, what is a BA responsible for in a tech company?
To put it simply, you are a solution provider. Depending on what that company does. So you need to understand business requirements, translate the business requirement to the implementation team. It could be building, it could be tech, it could be legal, whatever, whoever is doing the implementation, you're the go-between. You need to be able to speak business English and also speak implementation English. That way, there's no requirement or no issue or any matter of, oh, it was lost in translation, that kind of thing. So if you're, for example, I work in a bank, so I had to go get an MBA in finance and investment, because when the finance and the accounting people are talking to me, debit this deal, credit this deal, I need to be able to understand what they're saying to solve their problem, right? All business is saying is we need to be able to solve problem A. What finance is saying, to be able to do that, we need to debit this deal and credit this deal. If I don't know what they are talking about, we will all be lost. Yeah. So as a BA in whatever industry you find yourself, just see that you are a problem solver and you need to be able to understand business, which is I would say, the whole of the business, whatever that business does, right? From management to all the different functions of that business, and also understand the implementation language. I hope that puts it simply.
Yes, I understand, and I hope the person that asked the question understands too. So just take questions from now. We have just about 10 minutes left on this session, So isn't it a question for you? what are the skills required and challenges in business process management? And what are the different levels in a career in that space? I don't know, the question is a bit confusing, but the one I know you probably can answer is, are the skills transferable across industries?
Okay, I saw the question. What I want to tell the person is there are no levels from my experience in business process, because business process speaks to is a process that different organizations have, right? When you get into, because it's a process that you also have to learn when you get it. So for instance, the business process of Coca-Cola won't be the same business process of a Toyota. When you get into the organization, you should be open-minded, commercially savvy to understand the business, because you need to understand the business to know the solution that you would provide when you're engaging your stakeholders. So first off, there are no, except the company wants to just, for sake of structure, to say business process officer 1, business process officer 2. But in its entirety, there's really no hierarchy in it. Transferable skills. Everybody has one. I would say at the core of business analysis, it's communication. Written, verbal communication, because you are an interface between the business and the IT professionals. Because why actually the go-between is, from experience, IT professionals, they just want you to break it down to the simplest term for them to understand and develop solutions, and everybody moves to the next level. So I would say, again, basic written communication, verbal communication, and then knowledge of the business. I think these three, Damola, you can, if I'm correct, these three are like the first things you need to have, because most of what you're doing is translating, problem solving as well. Translating, as in you're like, okay, the business tells you, okay, so I'll give an instance. I worked on a contract automation project. And now that I know, I was the BA. So my stakeholders, who were people from the various business units that come to the legal department to do contracts for, all what they said was, legal, we want our contract automated. We want to go into a software and put in the name and and then it generates the contracts. Now, what I have to communicate to my IT team was, what are the parameters? This is what they want to achieve. They want to put in names of parties, they want to generate, and we had to build one from the scratch. So I hope I've tried to I'm trying not to use BA language. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, so they understand.
Awesome. So if I can on that, isn't it? You're very correct. For business process analysis and for business analysis itself, the skills are very transferable. And that's why we have said it's a broad spectrum. I can see all the subdomains on that. So it's transferable. The base or the rudimentary skills and competencies you need to practice as a BA in FMCG is almost the same you will need in a tech company or in a pharmaceutical company or in a bank. Because again, like you said, communication, being able to engage people, being able to manage, be a people manager, and being able to be commercially savvy and all that. Yeah, so they are very transferable. That's it.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Damola. So Damola, there's a question from Vesta. Is there a place to get volunteer jobs to upskill in BA? Right? For those who are starting, I just want to get a place to learn. Do you have an idea?
I would say it's one of the biggest challenges that a lot of people want to cross into the field face. But I also tell people that you need to look in places that are not common, are not so common and not so thought about. So there's someone now that I was trying to get a volunteering role, and when I told her to look for such roles in her inner circle, she actually volunteered to be a BA for a project in her church, right? And that project was to identify some SMEs within the church and try to give them a loan. And she volunteered, and now she's helping with the process. And that's something that she can come back to say later that, and I did this, we were engaging people and all that. So I would say look at places that are not so common or are not so thought of, your inner circle. Sometimes structured organization might not want you to come volunteer because they're doing serious business, right? And because it's pro bono, there's no form of liability there, but just look around. Once you have the skills and competencies, I think look around and then talk to more people also that you want to volunteer. I think you would get one if you're very intentional about it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Damola. So Jen is asking, does the bootcamp cover trainings on solutions like Jira, Visio, etc.? I think that's a yes. Definitely.
Yeah, the answer is yes. And we will have curated hands-on bootcamp that looks at tools that BAs use today to carry on their jobs. Yeah, but if you come into the business analysis bootcamp itself, yes, you would actually get to be introduced into Jira, Confluence, and some of the other tools that BAs use for modeling and for collaboration, etc.
Okay, awesome. Afola Shade says, is getting a certification as a product owner or Scrum Master in addition to being a BA?
Okay, so I'll take that. So like I said earlier, yes, you can be a BA and still go ahead to get certification in Scrum Master, in product ownership. Like I said, there's even a hybrid certification by Hybrid that's called the CPOA, which is Certified Product Ownership Analysis, right? Which is more like a bridge between expectation of a business analysis and the competencies of a product owner within an agile space. Yes, but again, you can get the business analyst certification and go ahead to just get a product ownership certification or a Scrum Master certification. There is no stop, there are no fast rule to it. Yeah.
I mean, the goal is to keep learning. So yes, please.
Correct.
Yes. Isn't it? Isang is asking if you can be a mentor. Right.
Yes, I can. You can hit me up on LinkedIn. It's Fable. And to also add, I'm also surprised that nobody has asked the question about the bootcamp and the exams that will earn you your CBAB certification. As much as I'm passionate about everyone coming on board, I'm also, because I enrolled in the bootcamp for BNet Learning, and I would strongly recommend for those who are interested to sign up with BNet, because they are, apart from it's not more, after your training, it's also about confidence to go sit for the exams. It's also about how everything is broken down and the support that you would get during the bootcamp, after the bootcamp, the exams preparations and all that. So as much as it's a dream for everybody to be a business analyst, is how do we all get it right from the get-go? And I would say BNet Learning is the place to be and the place to go. Damola is a fantastic instructor. I'm sure they are shocked at what, because Damola is a fantastic instructor. He has something he gives us to drink, like that makes you feel that you'll be at the end of the session. So please, guys, apart from, we should also plan, and upskilling is an investment. Upskilling is an investment in our career. You have to sow to reap. So whatever we are planning to do, please, it's not just as a HR professional, it's not just by stamping BA things, BA question, BA job descriptions. Right now, questions are going to be asked for your understanding, and you have to learn to know or do to respond to those interview questions. And these are all the insights that you get both from your Babok and from the bootcamp training. And there's also an exam an exam prep class as well, where you're being told the tools to use to prepare for the exam. So all these things are what helped me pass my exams and helped me gain a broader understanding of business analysis through Binet learning. I just said to add that.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, okay. A mail, you can send a mail to info@binetlearning.com. Esther, yes, and the details will be sent.
Yes.
For those who are, for those who are internationally, there's also the North American one. I mean, they will give you all the details. So Binet Learning caters to both Nigeria, those resident in Nigeria and those resident out of Nigeria.
Yes, thank you very, very much, Izine.
Awesome.
Right, so like you said, we'll have a bootcamp starting May 7th. Right, so if you'd like to be a part of it quickly, you can just send an email to info@binetlearning.com. Right, you will get details on everything about the course, the costs, the duration, the time, and everything you will need. So please just send an email to info@binetlearning.com. Our website is www.binetlearning.com also, so you can check our website out to get more information on the course. Like she said, we also offer courses. We offer courses globally, right? So we either use the West African time zone, that's mostly for Nigerian folks, while we use the North American time zone for those outside Nigeria. So if you like to join whatever session you'd like to join, just send us an email to info@binetlearning.com. Then we'll start the conversation from there. We are already past our time. It's 2 minutes past our time. So I just go for closing round. For those who are not able to answer your questions, please, you can shoot an email to info@binetlearning.com. We'll answer your questions in the course of the week. If you check on our website, you also see our phone numbers. If you'd rather just call us straight, you can call and we'll be there for you. So for closing remarks, I'll start with Izine.
Thank you all for coming. We hope, on behalf of Binet, as a former participant of their training, and also Damola is my mentor as a mentee of Damola. Thank you all for your time. Thank you all for coming. And we hope that it's not just by coming. I mean, this is 2022. We are all taking responsibility for our career and our next level. I will be really pleased and encouraged that each and every one of us comes on board and achieve your dreams by joining the business analysis career. Thank you.
Thank you, Izine. Moses, sorry, just one quick question. Moses says he's working 9 to 5. Is there a weekend program? Yes, of course, our classes are weekend, Saturday and Sunday between specified time. So like I said, please just send an email to info@binetlearning.com. Damlola, our training manager, will give you the full breakdown you will need. So now move on to Adija. Please closing remarks.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I think it's important that we upskill. Yeah, wherever you are, don't stop learning. Even if you don't want to transition, yeah, just look at it. You can just attend the class, see what it looks like, and you might find yourself interested. I also want to mention that I am open to mentoring. You could reach out to anyone at Binet, they will give you my information. Of course, they need to check with me first, but yeah, you can go through them. If you have any questions, anything at all, I'm very open. I have mentees within Rain Money that will appreciate the program that we have internally at Rain Money. So we don't mind having more people join us. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Adija. Okay, Damola.
Okay. I think that the closing remark from Izine and Adija already just seals it out. So just to thank you for your time, and take the actions, basically. Take the actions. Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining the session. I hope you've been able to pick one or two things, right? Like we all said, like the goal is to keep upskilling, keep learning, and keep growing. right? I mean, post 2022, that's the next thing. You just have to change is constant. So let's just keep learning, let's keep praying. The email is info@binelearning.com. I'm sorry we could not get through all the questions we have on this chat, right? So please just send that email and we'll be in touch with you in the course of the week. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being engaging. Thank you, and have a great evening, everybody. See you soon. Thank you, Adija. Thank you, Zini. It was really,
Welcome.
really happy you guys in the session. It was really,
You're
really
welcome. Bye-bye, everyone.
all right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.